This is me. I used to be kind of stupid, but in the span of a few months, I became so smart that I had books piling up. But it's not like this was hard. It was a breeze. So what did I do? Well, I don't study. Instead, I use a method. But here's the catch. This method uses an exploit in the brain that makes becoming smart so easy that it's not even funny. I'll explain what this is, how to use it, as well as a technique at the end of the video that famous thinkers use. You don't need any studying. Just use this method and watch the results come in. Trust me, I've spent 8 years doing this, and it's the reason why I've gained so much. Anyway, so what is this method? Well, there's a big mistake you're always making that's stopping you from learning. To show you, here is Michael. Michael wants to get smarter because he feels stupid, right? We've all been there. So he goes out there, chooses a random topic, and studies it. I want you to spot what he's doing wrong. Go. Done? Well, here's the issue. He's actually not interested in what he's doing. This is the study mindset, right? We will be in this mindset where we have to study for a test, but we'll absorb nothing. This is why people think they're not smart. So you're probably wondering, how do we get rid of this? Well, this is where the mindset comes into play. Basically, I have a friend, right? He was in the same situation as Michael. He would read books, then absorb absolutely nothing. This made him think he was dumb. But one day, he decided to talk to me about it. He told me everything, his inability to retain info, the stuff he was reading. But then I decided to ask him, are you interested in what you're reading? That's when he realizes the issue. Just like Michael from before, he wasn't interested at all. So what he does is that he swaps books, and out of nowhere, he finally feels like he's learning something. The reason this happened was because his brain found this book more interesting and appealing than this other book. This is called intrigue. But now you have a massive problem. What if you have to prepare for an exam, but the thing you're learning is so boring that it puts you to sleep? Well, this is when I introduce to you the obsession-based method, the exact way you can get interested in any topic. But here's the thing. Before I get into explaining how to do this, I have to reveal its darkest secret. Every time you get interested in a topic, your brain releases dopamine. This is the chemical that keeps you going. So we're going to need this, but we want that dopamine release to come right as you're about to study. So how do we get it? Well, you're going to create it yourself with the exploit. I'll explain how to do this during a step-to-step guide, but now let's finally start and get into step 1. You see these books? Well, for the first step, I want you to choose one of them. I'll give you 3 seconds. Go. Chose one? There's a reason I wanted you to do that, because this is the biggest mistake people do. Basically, when they study, they do what my friend did. Pick a random source that they aren't interested in. This is the reason so many people are lagging behind. But there's a reason this happens. You see, you're missing a very important element. Allow me to explain. Let's say you're thinking of buying a television. As that thought pops up, you get dopamine. Eventually, this causes you to search up flat screen television on Amazon, and then you buy it, giving you more dopamine. Already, you've set up something interesting in your brain. Now, I want you to guess what happens next. Do you think you will use the TV as you get it? Yes, you will. That's because you've created what's called a dopamine chain. Every single action you took created a link on the chain. This is how we'll make you invest. But creating this is no easy task. So for step 1, we're going to create our first link by doing this. See this book? This book is about an ancient empire. I love ancient history. So naturally, when I saw this book online, the first link had already been created. Now, just in case you're curious, you don't have to buy books to do this. You can create the first link with any source. It could be a long study or an article. But here's the catch. When I bought this book, the thing that created the link wasn't actually money. Instead, it was the action of buying the thing. This means that if you have a free PDF online that you're trying to read, you can create the first link by taking an action. You can do this by saving it somewhere. It's still an action, so it will work. So that's step 1. But now for step 2, we're going to add the second link onto the dopamine chain. Let's go back to our TV example. So you bought the TV and now you're waiting for it. But in the meantime, you're already setting up the second link. How? Well, when you bought the TV, you start to think how it will feel to use it. This thought makes you so excited that you can't wait for the TV to come in the mail. That's already the second link. But how are you going to do this for a 500-page study? Well, for our second action, we're going to do this. Let's say that you bought a book about marketing. You leave it on your bookshelf and you're going to read it tomorrow. Out of nowhere, you start to think, what value is in this book? Is there techniques for selling in it? This intrigue makes a book seem more valuable. so you're more likely to read it. Now, this can be very powerful, but now we run into a problem. There have been times where this dopamine would not come to me, meaning it wasn't working. This is really bad because this has stopped me from reading many times. So are we doomed? Is this all a waste? Well, here's the thing. I actually showed you the solution. Let's rewind the clip. What value is in this book? Is there techniques for selling in it? You see that? I wanted to find out new ways to sell. So now I'm even more eager to read it. What I did there was that I targeted a need. This could be anything, like a solution to a problem or to improve a skill. When you add a reason to the product, it only makes you want to use it even more. This right here creates our second link, like that. Now we have enough dopamine to move on to the third step, because we're going to read. From now on, we should have our two links together, meaning that you're going to be addicted to the book. Now, if you want to learn how to retain information, you can click on this video right here. But now, we have a problem. You know the dopamine chain we just created? Well, we have a chance of losing it. You see, after your first read, if you stop for a few days, all of your progress will be gone. In order to really make us obsessed, we need to not only keep this chain, but we also need to extend it. So to combat this, you're going to do two things. First of all, read it tomorrow. It keeps the chain active. But second of all, we're going to do something before that. We're going to create the third link. On my retain information video, I explicitly said this. Basically, whenever I'm done reading, I always recite what I just read, retelling the story and thinking about what I just read and what was the most interesting fact. This is perfect because by doing this, we're making the book seem more valuable, which creates a third link just like that. But here's the thing. You're not just going to do this once. You're going to activate this link every time you read the book, repeating it over and over again. But this is when something very interesting happens. I want you to pay attention here. Each time you use the third link, it's not just the book that becomes more valuable to you. You begin to get obsessed over the subject. That's how obsessions are created. When we see something that's valuable, we start to crave it, which means the more value that's added, the more you'll want to return. This is the art of dopamine chaining. It's an exploit in the brain that's always manipulated by advertisers, but we can use it to get smarter. You know how wild that is? But now we have one last step. Once you've finished reading, use that same link, but for everything you just read. Make yourself more curious about the subject. Now we have an infinite chain that goes on and on until you've had enough. But wait, hold on, that's not it. Remember what I said at the intro? As well as a technique at the end of the video that famous thinkers use. Yes, I have one more thing to tell you. Basically, this is habit that elite level thinkers use, like Aristotle. And it's the true icing on the cake. It will make you smarter, I promise. All you have to do every day is just spend at least 30 minutes, okay? 30 minutes just purely thinking. Yes, just sit there and let your mind roam free. This habit is seriously underrated and I hope it helps. Now, if you want to retain information, go watch that video. It's in the description right now. Subscribe and keep never quitting.